Hello and welcome to the Million Dollar Message. This is your Fearless Friday message with Kali Brigham, calling from beautiful Pensacola Beach, Florida. I remember years and years and years ago when I had some new consultants on my team and I wanted to show them how to do a party. So I had 3 of them that all went to one of my personal parties. I remember they had their little chairs on the side and, they helped grab the washcloths and this and that, but they basically were there to observe. And what I used to say to my consultants that would come watch a party was, for my sake, I hope that this is the best party I've ever done. For your sake, I hope it's not. Well, unfortunately for, I guess, them that night, it was like the perfect party. Everybody bought skincare sets. Everybody booked a second appointment. I probably recruited the hostess. It was just one of those nights. And I remember apologizing to them afterwards. And they were like, why? I said, because I didn't do you any favors with having everything go perfect. It was probably the only perfect party I've ever had. I literally remember who was sitting there. I remember everything about it. And I still joke with some of my consultants that are still in today. Sorry about that. Why do I say that? That sounds ridiculous, right? You'd want them to watch a perfect party. No, you don't, because nothing's going to be perfect except for that one party. And when things go wrong, they could see that, first of all, it's normal, and second of all, how I handled it. Well, this week I was watching the new Netflix documentary on Chef Gordon Ramsay. Now, just super quick warning, there is a lot of language in there. He likes to spice things up a lot. So I'm just going to fair warning there. However, I really, really loved the documentary, and it's about him and his family and opening a brand new restaurant, which is, of course, a huge investment. It's his reputation. There's a lot of expectations. And one of the parts of the show is he has a soft opening. And what really struck me as I watched that was basically his attitude. And he was even saying to the chefs and the team and the staff that he hoped some things would go wrong. As a matter of fact, he was going around in the soft opening and talking to some people, and they were saying, oh, it's perfect. And he kind of got upset. He was like, no, I don't want everything to seem perfect or to be perfect, because then I won't know what needs fixing. And if I don't know what needs fixing, then I can't be excellent. He wanted the mistakes. He welcomed breakdowns. He needed the problems to be exposed. And I think for a variety of reasons, because mistakes are they're just data. Mistakes help you refine things, and mistakes is how you become masterful at something. So it's a totally different way of looking at things going wrong. So I just wanted to impart that to you today, that maybe what if in this season, this week or this month or just today, what if you viewed it and maybe it's something that you're trying that's new, a new way of closing your party or a new way of sharing the opportunity or a new way of selling a skincare set. What if you looked at it not as like your grand opening or not that this was the be-all, end-all, but just a soft opening for it? Because in a soft opening, things are supposed to go wrong. You might forget what to say. You might fumble through. You might do something that flops. Maybe you reach out and you get ignored. You tried a new script. Maybe you launch something and it's crickets. So instead of saying what we usually say, which is, I'm bad at this, I shouldn't have even tried, I knew this wasn't going to work, I'm not cut out for it, what if you said, oh, good, now I found something that I can refine? And it really leads to, I think, to not just a mistake, but why we get so afraid of no's. We're afraid of no's. We're afraid of cancellations. We're afraid of awkward conversations. We're afraid that no one's going to show up. We're afraid that somebody's going to say they're not interested. But the reality is, if we don't hear the no, then we're not stretching ourselves. I was at an event last night, and one of the women that was there that I had not ever met before, we were talking about being lucky and winning. They were going to do some raffles. And, I just talked about this a couple weeks ago, unlucky. And I even shared that with her because she said the last thing she won was like some popcorn in second grade. And so as we're talking, I was like, girl, you better say that you're lucky that you always win. And then I said, by the way, did you put your name in the drawing? And she sort of laughed and said, no. I said, well, of course you're not going to win. Your name's not even in there. I said, go put your name in there real quick. So she did, and I am not even kidding you. 5 minutes later, they started doing the raffles, and she was the very first winner. She came running over to me. She was so excited. She said, let's open it together. She didn't even know what she won, right? So the deal is, if you've never asked and you've never heard no, that means you're not asking. You're not stretching. If you're not being awkward, you're not growing. If something never goes wrong, you're not risking enough. You can't improve a script that you never say. You can't refine a close that you've never done. And you can't grow your resilience if you've never tested it. No's are never rejection. I want you to think of them now as research. They're telling you who your audience is, what language resonates, where you need more confidence, where you need better follow-up, where you're making assumptions. So I just want to encourage you today that we don't become excellent in this business by hiding. We become excellent in this business by exposing the different elements of what we do. And, I think when I think about, why did Ramsey not want to have everything go perfect? Because when he was ready, he wanted to know that his systems were working. He'd rather that he learn early and fix it early and strengthen it early. So you don't want the same thing happening 5 years from now. You want the 5 years from now problems happening now so that you can accelerate it. All right, so what if the real problem is not that things are going wrong? What if the real problem is that you're playing it so safe that nothing else does? So, we don't fail. We fail when we're trying, and most people don't fail because they're not trying. They don't try to book the parties. They don't try to get the new faces. They stay where it's safe. They don't do the bold reach outs. They don't try a new script. Nothing ever goes wrong because nothing ever happens. So let's not play it safe anymore. Instead of asking, did this go well, ask, what did this teach me? Instead of asking, why did you say no, say, what objection did that reveal? Instead of the party was so small, ask, what system needs strengthening? Instead of I was awkward, say, good, where can I tighten that up? So I want something to go wrong for you this week on purpose. So maybe that means reaching out to someone who intimidates you, booking someone that feels slightly above your comfort zone, trying a new script, going live, asking more directly, sharing more boldly. And if it flops, yay, celebrate, because you just gathered more data. You just got some market research. You just learned the way that you're not going to do it. So let's do that this week. Let's welcome the mistake. It removes the fear the more you do it. It really does. He was not afraid to hear what was going wrong. He was excited to hear about it. This is how we work. This is how we win. So if if he's hoping that things go wrong, maybe let's be brave enough to have a little imperfection in our booking text. You will survive a no. You will handle a party that doesn't do what you thought it was going to do. All right, where's the refinement going to be this week? Where's the feedback going to be this week? Because women who win in this business are not the ones who avoid the mistakes. They're the ones who welcome them and they use them. So I can't wait to hear what goes wrong this week. All right, make it a beautiful day. Happy month end and happy month beginning.